What I'm about to read you guys is sort of a combination from 2 or 3 ER nurses over the course of the last couple of months that I've received. The first time I got it, it was real off-putting. I'm like, whoa, that's cold. And then another one came in from an ER nurse, and another one came in from an ER nurse, again, over the course of the last couple of months. And I was starting to put them together, right? And there seems to be, and ER nurses, if you want to get in on this, 1-855-BERT show, and a lack of empathy for patients that are coming into the ER that have not been vaccinated. And at least in this that I'll read to you guys, she even admits that the way that I treat a vaccinated patient when they come into the ER, if they're there for COVID and COVID-19, and the ones that between are and aren't are treated very, very differently. Like one is sort of like, hey, this is preventable. Why are you here? And the other one, she'll help out. So here's what we got here. Every time you guys talk about respecting people that don't get the vaccine, it drives me nuts, respectfully, she says. Yes, it's a personal choice. I get it. But I am an ER nurse. You have no idea how many patients I have tried to treat that end up passing. You know what they all 100%, Bert, have in common? None of them got vaccinated. Tell your listeners that. Also, tell them that as an ER nurse, if I have a choice to make between quickly treating a COVID patient that has been vaccinated versus one that hasn't, guess what? I'll choose the one that deserves my attention the most, the vaccinated patient. And it's unspoken, but most ER nurses, she claims, feel the same way. Ask them. Okay, I'm asking. 1-855-BERT show. And if you want to go on the voice disguiser, I would recommend that. We're obligated to treat everyone, of course. But if you could hear the conversations between ER nurses when an unvaccinated patient comes into the ER, you'd be shocked by how cold we sound. We're tired. We're overworked. We're unappreciated. I think about quitting every single day because all of this is so preventable. Woo!
Yeah.
That's strong, man.
I got a friend that's an ER nurse, and she told me this a while ago. And, I mean, I've never seen her work as hard as she's having to work, and she just talks about how crazy it is every single day. And in a lot of cases, you do have to kind of choose where you're going to go next, and she said the same thing.
That's real. That's real. I have a friend, actually, that lost his mom to COVID. And when he and I were texting about it, there was sort of a coldness to it. Like, I'm like, I'm so sorry, man. And he's like, you know what? She didn't want to get the vaccine. She knew what the dangers were. She passed. It was preventable. That's exactly what he wrote back. There was no like, I miss my mom. Mm-hmm. It was just like almost pissed.
Like he's angry at her.
Angry at her almost, Amanda wants to be on the voice disguiser. Hey, Amanda.
Hi, how are you guys?
Hi, is what you're hearing in this kind of combination of DMs that I strung together, is this accurate?
So I've never treated a patient differently that's not vaccinated, but I definitely have that in my head, like you've done this to yourself, you could have gotten a vaccine and prevented this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a frustration that you could have done something to prevent this and to keep yourself from getting so sick, but at the same time, I would never give them less care. Usually they're the sicker patient, so I am giving them more care probably than the patient who was vaccinated because they're not as sick. Because they did take that step to help themselves.
Is there chatter sort of behind the scenes with other ER nurses like, Jesus, here's another one that didn't get vaccinated? Because that's what she's saying.
It is kind of like that, but I also work with a lot of coworkers who refuse to get vaccinated. and they think masks are ridiculous as well, which is on my end very frustrating because I wear the masks, I've been vaccinated, I do my part for myself, my family, and my patients. So even for me, that's frustrating that I don't take on the mandate, and I don't feel it should be mandated, but at the same time, I feel like you're a healthcare worker who's around us, and you see it, so why would you not take that step to help yourself and others?
Appreciate you calling. Here is Kayla, an ER nurse, I think, that wants some honesty here. Hey, Kayla.
Hey.
Hi there.
I wouldn't say say that they get different treatment, but they definitely get different bedside manner. I have a lot less compassion and a lot less empathy for someone who comes in anti-masker, anti-vaxxer. It's all super big where I live. And I have a lot less patience for them. I've been pushing people to the morgue every shift since probably the last 6 months, and I'm tired.
Yeah, that was the word that was used most often in these DMs is just exhausted. Just so tired.
Less compassionate. I mean, that makes sense because they're exhausted because their resources are being like sucked dry by people that won't get a simple shot, and that's why they're exhausted.
One more call here. Hey, Natalie, good morning.
Hi, guys. I feel like I call you all the time.
You're welcome to call whenever you want.
I'm an ER nurse. Thank you. So I'm an ER nurse, and like everybody's saying, it's the literal exhaustion. I've seen some of the toughest doctors that I work with who have gotten dirty, walking through the ER, just stop and break down in tears because it's like you get to a point where your hands are tied and there's literally nothing you can do, but then there's something that you can do and people just won't do it. And it's frustrating, it's infuriating, and it is exhausting. We don't have resources. We have patients waiting in a waiting room for 12 hours because there's just nowhere to put them. And everybody is suffering because of the people that are choosing not to get vaccinated. And it's totally a personal choice. But I feel like if you choose not to take medication when it's offered to you to prevent something, then choose not to take it when you get sick.
Natalie, I only have a couple of seconds here. The bottom line is, do you feel like patients that aren't vaccinated are being treated any differently than ones that are vaccinated?
I don't feel like that, no.
Okay.
I feel like we probably talk about them when they aren't around, but not being treated differently, absolutely not.
Okay, appreciate you calling.
The Bert Show.